December 1941. Amidst the deafening wail of air raid sirens, two unmarked white footlockers are hastily sealed. Inside lay 500,000 years of human evolution. Entrusted to U.S. Marines, to understand the magnitude of this loss, we must step back to the 1920s, to Dragonbone Hill, just southwest of Beijing. There, archaeologists unearthed something impossible, the fossilized remains of an early human ancestor, the legendary Peking Man. According to historical records from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, these were the holy grail of human evolution. But by 1937, the shadow of a brutal invasion crept over China. The priceless fossils were trapped inside the Peking. As enemy forces encircled the city, researchers worked frantically in the vault. They made meticulous plaster casts of every single bone. Casts can preserve shape, but not the DNA, not the truth of our origins. The authentic bones had to be evacuated to the United States. In late November 1941, historical logs confirm a desperate plan was forged. A top-secret diplomatic arrangement. The original remains were delicately wrapped in tissue paper, nestled in corrugated cardboard, and packed into two standard wooden footlockers. To avoid drawing attention, they were painted a stark, unmarked white. No labels, no indication of the treasure inside. They were handed over to the Marine detachment stationed at the U.S. Embassy, treated as highly classified military cargo. On December 5th, the lockers were loaded onto a special train, destined for the port city of Qinhuangdao. There, the American luxury liner, the SS President Harrison, was scheduled to evacuate the Marines and their secret cargo. The train departed into the freezing winter night. But those two white lockers never made it onto the ship. On December 7, 1941, the attack on Pearl Harbor plunged the Pacific into total war. In northern China, Japanese forces immediately seized control of all American installations. Camp Holcomb was overrun. The U.S. Marine detachment assigned to guard the precious cargo was disarmed. They became prisoners of war. The mystery of the Marines' fate is closed. They survived the camps. But the fate of their cargo had just been blown wide open. Japanese military intelligence knew exactly what they were looking for. They stormed the Peking Union Medical College vault, expecting to claim the ultimate prize. They found the skulls. But their victory was brief. They were holding nothing but the white plaster casts. Furious, they relentlessly interrogated the captured Marines. But the Americans swore they knew nothing. According to the official transcripts, the Marines claimed they never even saw the white footlockers arrive at the port. If they didn't make it to the ship and they didn't arrive at the station, where did two massive boxes of human history go? Did the train get intercepted? Did panicked soldiers bury them by the tracks? Were they looted by opportunistic bandits? Or did the Japanese find them and keep it a secret? After the war, international efforts scoured the continent. Huge rewards were offered. But the physical trail of the Peking Man ended. For 30 years, there was nothing. Until 1972, when a mysterious businessman stood on the observation deck of the Empire State Building and demanded $500,000. He claimed to have the authentic skulls. And to prove it, he offered a photograph. The FBI was alerted. The drop was arranged. But just as suddenly as he appeared, the man and the photograph vanished entirely. FBI forensics scrutinized the 1972 Polaroid. They looked for background clues, film chemistry, anything to prove it was real. The result? Inconclusive. The black market lead evaporated into thin air. With the 1970s trail dead, investigators were forced to look back at the chaos of 1941. Two prevailing theories emerged. Theory 1, a watery grave. The SS President Harrison, the ship meant to carry the fossils, was intercepted by Japanese warships. To prevent the ship from falling into enemy hands, the American captain intentionally ran it aground. Some historians speculate the Marines secretly smuggled the white footlockers aboard before the ship went down. But despite numerous deep-sea surveys over the decades, no trace of the bones has ever been found in the wreckage. Which leads to Theory 2. The fossils never left land. They were buried under the cover of darkness. Years after the war, an American military veteran came forward with a chilling memory from his time as a prisoner at Camp Holcomb. He vividly recalled looking out from his barracks window, late at night, shortly after the Japanese takeover. Through the freezing mist, he saw enemy soldiers digging beside the railway tracks. They were digging two large, rectangular holes, the exact dimensions of military footlockers. Decades later, he provided the precise coordinates of those holes to researchers, reigniting the hunt. Armed with this new map, a team rushed to the coastal city of Qinhuangdao to unearth the truth. But when they arrived at the exact coordinates, they didn't find dirt. They found an impenetrable layer of modern asphalt. Investigators didn't give up. They deployed ground-penetrating radar over the Qinhuangdao Parking Lot, searching for any void in the earth. The scans returned massive anomalies. Rectangular shapes, buried exactly where the veteran described. But without 100% certainty, local authorities refused to demolish a commercial site. The bones might be inches away, completely untouchable. This agonizing dead end forces us to consider a much darker theory. What if the lockers were intercepted by local scavengers? In 1940s China, fossilized remains were highly prized in traditional medicine, commonly sold as dragon bones. Thieves wouldn't care about human evolution. To them, old bones were just ingredients to be crushed, boiled, and consumed. It is a horrifying possibility that the 500,000-year-old Peking Man was simply ground into dust. But Japanese imperial intelligence, the Kempeitai, was ruthless. They likely wouldn't have let scavengers take such a prize. Many historians believe the Japanese military successfully seized the skulls, intending to send them to Tokyo as a trophy. This leads us to the Awa Maru, a massive Japanese ocean liner departing in April 1945. But on April 1st, an American submarine, the Queenfish, intercepted her in the dark waters of the Taiwan Strait. 4 torpedoes were fired. The massive ship sank in minutes, taking 2,000 lives and its cargo straight to the bottom. In 1977, the Chinese government launched one of the largest salvage operations in history to recover the wreck. Divers penetrated the crushed metal hull, searching the pitch-black cargo holds for the legendary white footlockers. They found nothing. The President Harrison, the Awa Maru, the Qinhuangdao Parking Lot, every single... If you held the most valuable fossils on Earth and an invading army was marching on your city, would you really trust them to a freight train? Some historians propose a radical, brilliant twist. The 2 white footlockers were nothing but a calculated decoy. We know the team worked frantically to create exact plaster replicas. What if those fakes were the ones sent to the Marines, while the authentic, half-million-year-old bones were quietly sealed away, deep within the walls of the medical college? The Peking Union Medical College was a massive, labyrinthine structure, a fortress of corridors and underground chambers. Leads came into Iraq and Maintim. Archival blueprints reveal hidden sub-basements and forgotten hot-and maintenance shafts. Over the years, clandestine searches have repeatedly probed the college's oldest foundations, looking for recently disturbed brickwork. Investigators scan the masonry, searching for a hollow echo, hoping to find the true, undisturbed resting place of Peking Man. But the building has kept its secrets. If the bones are entombed there, they remain perfectly hidden in the dark. This agonizing silence breeds an even darker theory within the criminal underworld: the private collector. Art theft investigators suggest the ultimate nightmare for science. The skulls didn't sink, and they weren't crushed. They are sitting in the dark, locked inside the climate-controlled vault of an anonymous, untouchable billionaire. A prize so illegal and so globally recognizable that it can never be publicly displayed to another living soul. Whispers in the illicit antiquities trade occasionally mention the fossils, trading hands like invisible ghost currency. A shadow market where human history is treated as a mere trophy. But modern science, has not surrendered. Today, we possess tools that the scientists of 1941 could barely imagine. DNA sequencing, advanced digital modeling. But modern science suffers from a fatal limitation. You cannot extract human DNA from a plaster cast. Driven by desperation, the Chinese Academy of Sciences returned to the very beginning, Dragon Bone Hill. In 2023, they made a staggering announcement. Deep within the original cave system, archaeologists unearthed newly discovered hominid fossil fragments, a monumental triumph for modern paleontology. But this triumph only highlighted a devastating truth. Finding a few new fragments does not replace what was lost. The 1941 collection wasn't just a single skeleton. It was an entire prehistoric community, men, women, and children. With the stakes higher than ever, the hunt has evolved. Investigators now scour the dark web for illicit antiquities chatter. Some analysts propose a new twist. The two white lockers were separated. One was destroyed, while the other survived. Yet, despite global bounties and digital surveillance, the most agonizing clue remains purely physical. Underneath that modern parking lot in Qinhuangdao, those two massive rectangular anomalies sit in the dark, buried in the earth, protected by an impenetrable layer of urban concrete and bureaucratic red tape. Local authorities remain hesitant to destroy a functional commercial site without absolute, undeniable proof. Could the greatest archaeological treasure in human history be resting quietly beneath the tires of commuter cars? Every day, thousands of footsteps and commuter cars pass over the Qinhuangdao site, completely unaware of what might lie just inches below the surface. At the Zhoukoudian Museum, the display cases meant for the original Peking Man remain hauntingly empty. They house only the white plaster replicas, phantoms of a lost reality. The surviving notes of the lead scientist reveal a deep, lingering despair. He knew the replicas were never going to be enough. Without the original bone marrow, without the ancient DNA, a massive, irreplaceable chapter of human evolution is simply erased. When modern geneticists try to map our ancestral tree, there is a glaring, agonizing blind spot. 40 individuals, 500,000 years of survival, wiped out by the chaos of a single week in 1941. We keep returning to that freezing December fog, the moment the white footlockers slipped from the historical record. The U.S. Marines who escorted them survived the brutal prisoner of war camps, but their cargo did not. Over the decades, global institutions have offered staggering rewards, millions of dollars for a single verified bone. But the only responses have been shadowy black market whispers and blurry, inconclusive Polaroids. Time is the ultimate enemy. With every passing year, witnesses die and physical evidence degrades. If they are buried, the soil is slowly destroying them. If they are in a private vault, they are hidden forever. They survived ice ages. They survived predators. They survived 500,000 years of brutal prehistoric Earth. So how did our oldest ancestors completely vanish after just 5 days in the hands of modern men? But the legacy of Peking Man was not entirely erased from the Earth. Thanks to the obsessive, meticulous documentation made just before the invasion, science retained a blueprint of our ancestors, even if the physical bones themselves were lost to the abyss. Yet, the physical hunt has never truly stopped. The theories span the entire globe. Some believe the lockers sit forgotten in a dusty American attic, taken as an unrecognized war souvenir. Others swear they are buried deep within an abandoned military bunker in Japan, waiting in the dark. The loss of Peking Man is more than just an unsolved true crime mystery. It is a mirror. We dug up the very origins of humanity, only to let our own modern wars destroy it. A tragic testament to how terrifyingly fragile history truly is. Which brings us back to that freezing morning, December 1941. Two unmarked white wooden footlockers sitting on a train platform, guarded by desperate men who had absolutely no idea they were holding the dawn of humanity. They vanished into the fog of a world tearing itself apart. They survived predators, ice ages, and 500,000 years of prehistoric Earth. But they could not survive us.